Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody to the ordinary meeting of Mount Isa City Council. The time is now 9 a.m. and I now declare the meeting open. We have one apology, and I'll just put a motion. Would someone like to put the motion forward that Council accepts and notes the apology of Councillor McTully?
Moved.
Seconded.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. All those in favour? And that's carried. I'd like to start off by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Kalkadoons, and also acknowledge all Australia's First Nation people, and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Just like to note that Council's ordinary meeting is recorded in accordance with the Council's recording of Council meetings policy. Individuals may be recorded, and by remaining in the public gallery, it is assumed consent is given for their image to be inadvertently broadcast. So I'd like to start off now with asking Tim, our clergy representative, to kick us off with a prayer. Thank you.
Let me pray. Heavenly Father, we acknowledge that this is your world and you've created it and you rule over it for our good and your glory. We acknowledge that we don't always honour you in our actions and lives, and we ask in humility that you would forgive us. You call on Christians to pray and give thanks for kings and leaders in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. And so I pray for the leaders in this room and acknowledge that it's been a difficult and stressful period for leaders, councillors and mayors, and premiers and prime ministers. May you continue to grant the people before me your wisdom to lead with justice and to govern rightly. Grant them your peace to rest well and humility so that they can submit to you for help. We particularly pray for your help to be gracious to our Mayor, Danielle Slade. Grant her incredible wisdom above her years and learning, so that peace and welfare, truth and justice may prevail among us. Thank you for her concern for Mount Isa and rural Queensland. May these regions flourish under her leadership. And we pray for similar wisdom and leadership for the councillors also. We acknowledge that your word says that people in governing authorities and positions are your servants for our good, so please protect them from the temptation to serve themselves and help them to act for the benefit of this city and this state. Most of all, please grant them your grace to look to Jesus for help and hope. Father, you know that our area relies on mining and pastoral work, so be gracious to these industries that keep many people employed and support many families. May the products that our area provide be beneficial to many people. Today we commit to you our teachers. May you help them as they teach our children. We commit to you our medical staff. Thank you that they have dedicated their lives to making people well. And we commit to you our police and fire brigade. Give them courage and provide protection. We bring to you the many Indigenous Australians in the area who have a rich history and heritage on this land. We pray that reconciliation and healing would prevail, and that you would help us all treat each other with dignity and respect, knowing that we are made in your image. And finally, we commit those in our area who are sick, suffering, lonely, elderly people who are in need. May they look to you, and may you grant them peace and provide for their needs. We thank you for Jesus Christ, who loves us and has freed us from our sins by his blood. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. And Tim's from the Baptist Church, so thank you so much for our prayer today. So now that takes us to item 3. So I'd like to suspend the agenda at the moment, so to give the public in attendance an opportunity to address the council. And I believe we've got at least one.
Hello.
You're right to go.
I'd like to thank the councillors for allowing me to address the meeting today. Just like to talk about the steel horses. Bartlett Highway in the front at the back of Kmart. Referred to as the Carandotta.
Excuse me, Peter, can you put them...
Oh,
thank you.
referred to as the Carandotta horses, because Carandotta was a station where the Rotary clubs from Mount Isa used to keep their horses and bring them into the Rodeo, the hard-working Rotary clubs of Mount Isa. feel that those horses will, as they are, they're just steel. And 5, 6 years, steel rust will start taking over and become an eyesore and go on and on. So it'd be nice if I spoke to the police yesterday about this, whether it would be nice if the council did confer with the police on that matter, because I feel that to prevent rusting, that there should be a competition by the council for artists to submit to paint the horses, because they don't stand out, they just blend in with the tree behind them. And as soon as it gets dark, you can't see them anyway. So if there was a competition, as they do like painting them water towers, paint them different colours, like real horses, it would prevent rusting and it would be an attraction also. But I would like to suggest that a sign can be put up above the horses, welcoming people to Mount Isa, perhaps the Rodeo City. You know, a welcoming sign for tourists coming in. But I also feel that it's a bit of a, with crazy drunk driving and everything, that they could just forget to turn the car and go straight into those horses. So I'd like the council to investigate putting bollards in front of those, back from the horses, but, so that the bollards don't attract attention, but the bollards are there to stop cars from crashing into those horses and killing them. Look into that, but consult the police also about it. Sign back welcoming tourists. Also, when I was speaking to the police, they said there was the lights where the caravans park opposite the Kmart car park up on the hill there. But the lights used to be on and now they're not on. Council talked to the police station about why the lights aren't turned on. There was a bit of a security thing if the lights are on. But if I could emphasise, perhaps run a competition to paint those horses so they stand out, people become the talking point, and becomes famous for the current Douglas horses. And to prevent rusting also. And also we'd like to congratulate the councils on bringing out this Mount Isa mail. But every shop in town should be able to have those on their counter. Great idea. Whoever is responsible for that should be congratulated, and I hope they keep the good work up, since we don't have paper anymore. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Do you want me to start off with the first question? So what the council are planning to do at the moment is a master plan of the whole CBD. And with that, we're that's going to include beautification, trees, shade, the whole, and so we want to do it well, and we don't want to do ad hoc things. So I guess that could definitely be looked at as part of the master plan, but that's where we're going right at this moment, is a master plan, and that will include that area. So that's good feedback.
Paint the horses so attract people's attention.
Yeah, we'll get some more information on
Thank you very much.
on that one.
I've got a bit of a croaky voice, sorry. In relation to the beautification of the city, is there any chance of us planting jacaranda trees right the way through? It's just, when they're in bloom, they are quite stunning, and there are a lot of places in the world that have jacarandas. We're very blessed that they grow very well in Mount Isa and a lot of places in Queensland, and I think we would stand out as absolutely beautiful sort of October, November time when they come into bloom. Just a thought. I just thought I'd add that as we're talking about the beautification of Mount Isa. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we could definitely put that as an investigation when we do the master plan for our CBD. So the other question was the lights, and I'm assuming it's Frank Aston Hill, is what you're referring to. the lights that aren't on at the moment, Peter, Lancaster Hill? Yep, so we can investigate that because they usually are on, so we can check that and find out why they're not on and get them back on. And thanks for the feedback on the on our flyer. We at the moment I think we've dropped them off at the both the news agencies in town that are open and also Coles and Woolworths. And we were just really trialling this for the next few months to see how well accepted they are by the community. And, you know, at the moment we're getting a lot of good feedbacks and we're finding that they're disappearing. So hopefully we'll continue on doing those flyers because one of our struggles is getting our message out to the community, and there is that generation who likes to read something, you know, rather than get online. So we're hoping to capture that audience. So thank you, that's great feedback. Yeah, no, we'll definitely take that on board. So thank you, Peter, because it is the whole area is going to be definitely looked at. So that's some good feedback about lighting the horses and possibly painting them to protect them from the elements. So thank you. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Dep-
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and thanks for your questions, Peter. I had a fair bit to do with the installation of the horses back in 2017, 18, I think it was. They are actually lit. There are lights at the lower end of them, which highlights them at night time. They've been done in consultation with TMR, so they are in a safe position according to their regulations and rules. There was a lot of work done through the consultation and the development of that site for the horses. And just on the terms of the rusting, it's not unusual for art like that, you know, throughout Western towns to have that effect, to be made of bare steel and to rust. And a lot of that was taken into consideration at the time, rather than if you paint them, then you have ongoing maintenance costs every year to repaint them, and you know, they're likely to suffer more from vandalism and things like that. I just also like to say, you know, the art's in the eye of the beholder. and if you look closely at those horses, you'll see a few things, and one of them is that it's a vignette. So as you drive by, the actual pieces all line up to become the horses, then they fade out again. And that's designed like that purposefully. Also, the front horse is the horse that designated to represent Blondie, which if you have a closer look at it, you'll see that there's a lot more holes in the horse, and you can see the light coming through the horse itself, and that's to give it a lighter effect than the rest of the horses. So there's quite a bit to that piece, and as I said, the art's in the eye of the beholder, and but thanks for your comments, and appreciate that. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, and thank you, Deputy Mayor. And I actually didn't. Well, look, we are definitely doing a master plan for the CBD, and we can investigate if there are other options for sure. And thank you, Deputy Mayor, because I actually didn't know all that information about those Carandotta horses. So now I'm going to pay particular attention next time I drive past, and I didn't realise the first one was Blondie. That's how good is that? Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Peter. I really appreciate your enthusiasm, and it's good to have people come to council. Yeah. And look, we appreciate you coming to council and giving us feedback. It's really appreciate that. All right, so we'll just go on now to item 4, which is a conflict of interest. And councillors are invited to declare any interest in relation to the agenda, including any late items presented. Councillor interests are noted against relevant items by the minutes clerk for action during the meeting.
No conflict.
No
None
conflicts.
for me.
No.
Okay, which takes us to item 5, and that's our presentations. Now, as a lot of people may or may not know, every Friday council do Casual for a Cause, and everyone participates by giving a gold coin donation. And also the council the council staff actually did a sausage sizzle at the Pet Day, and they donated all the profits from that as well to this Casual for a Cause. So today, the staff of Mount Isa City Council have wanted to give their money to Selectability. So I was just wondering if someone from Selectability could come forward, and we would like to present you with a certificate. And also, it'd be great if you could actually chat about your cause.
I'm Helen, sorry about my croaky voice, I'm Helen Davis, I'm the Regional Coordinator for Selectability. I've actually been in Mount Isa for quite a long time. I used to sit in that chair right there many moons ago, about 20 years ago, so it's lovely to sit in the council room again. I've brought Ash with me, and I'll let her introduce herself in a minute. Basically, we've moved into the old Playtime building, as you're probably aware, thank goodness. It's been empty for an awful long time. We're actually downstairs at the moment until we are able to start doing the renovations upstairs. So you'll see the big sign outside, and that renovations will probably start in the next few months. Our service is predominantly for NDIS consumers and for people with mental illness, and we're looking at mental health, suicide prevention. So this money will be put towards a cause, and we can't thank you enough. I spent a little bit of time with the mayor yesterday. This video together to help with our bike shed that's opening up in a few months' time. So thank you very much indeed. We greatly appreciate it. We're an NGO, and I might introduce herself as well.
I'm Ashley McCabe. So we are solely suicide prevention. So someone is going through suicide crisis or after a suicide attempt, to us for a 3-month program where we link them back into the community, are going to prevent them from ending up back in the emergency department.
Look, we're so proud of our Mount Isa City Council staff for actually doing this this great cause, and they get to choose who they donate to. So I think it's fantastic that they've recognised you guys and donated $466.25 to you. So congratulations. Okay. So that takes us to item 6, and it's the previous council meeting minutes. Could I have someone move the officer's recommendation that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 16th of June 2020 as received and be confirmed?
Moved, Barwick.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that motion?
Second, Stratton.
Thank you, councillor Stratton. Those in favour?
I'd like
Oh,
to speak on it first,
Sorry.
please.
Yep, sorry, I jumped a step there.
I won't be supporting this because I believe the minutes are not correct. For late item 1, Northwest Water, one of the decisions that we made was that Mount Isa City Council participate in a delegation including representatives from Cloncurry Shire Council and the Mount Isa Water Board to meet with the Deputy Premier and the Minister responsible for water, Cloncurry Shire Council and the Mount Isa Water Board. I stated in this meeting that Councillor Tully needed to be in attendance at that meeting.
There was no motion moved on that, councillor Coghlan, and we did have a meeting with Cloncurry. There was minutes on it, and in the agreement of the minutes, it stated that the Mayor of Mount Isa and the Mayor of Cloncurry attend the meeting. And if any councillors wanted to attend, that was the time to speak up.
No, I disagree
So,
because...
but honestly, you did not move a motion for a councillor
When we were
to
discussing
attend.
it, it was brought up in it, and it's I would be clearly on tape stating,
You did-
and
did-
everyone in here
there
was in agreement
There
with
was
it.
no motion moved, there was no vote.
That's fine. I won't be supporting this motion because I know what I said at the meeting, and I think it is a shame that Councillor Tully did not attend that meeting. He's got extensive knowledge on what was going on, but that's
Councillor
fine.
Coghlan, Councillor Tully has had nothing to do with North West Water since I got in as mayor. So he was behind on what was happening for the last 15 months. We made an agreement. We had all the people we needed in the room.
I disagree entirely with what you're saying,
No,
but anyway, we
it's
can
a,
move on.
It's a fact. Councillor Tully hasn't been involved in North West Water since I got in as mayor. So he is behind in all the documentation and all the meetings and all the emails that we've had since I got in. That's unfortunate, and I have said to Councillor Tully I want to remedy that situation, and I didn't realise that he had involvement prior to myself getting in as mayor. And that's
But
the reason.
I think you
So
would, because we have mentioned that many times.
No one's mentioned it. No one's mentioned it, and certainly not Councillor Tully. No, Councillor Coghlan, no one's mentioned it.
Yep.
It hasn't
Disagree
come up.
entirely, but I can move on from it. I just
Well,
won't be supporting it.
If anyone who is part of that delegation felt that Councillor Tully should have been there, they certainly didn't speak up. He hasn't been involved, and I don't think they knew of his involvement, and that was probably the problem. And again, I have said to Councillor Tully that I am more than happy to get him involved now that I know he's keen to be involved.
I won't be supporting the motion.
No, that's
all.
fine, but
I've
again,
put my notes on record.
Councillor
so
Coghlan, again, there was no motion put forward by yourself.
I would just be very, very careful in future with meetings that I know things are written down.
It
That's
doesn't-
fine.
Councillor
Just-
Coghlan,
we can move on.
you could suggest that we all buy coffees every meeting, but unless you put a motion forward, it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
I definitely will be putting motions forward in future. Point taken. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Yep. Okay, so does the mover of the, would like to comment on this, or the seconder?
No, Madam Mayor, there was a feeling that I think Councillor Tully could be involved in that particular set of meetings. However, as you point out rightly, there is no motion, and the minutes will have to go forward as they are. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I guess through the chair, I did write an email requesting that Councillor Tully attend those meetings also. So I think there was a general understanding that that was our intention. But yes, I will pass the minutes as written.
Look, and I'd like to acknowledge that Councillor McRae, you did ring me about this, about Mick Tully going, but unfortunately, Councillor Tully didn't get in contact with me at all. And he did CC me in an email to the CEO saying he'd like to attend, but again, he probably did. I explained to him when he came in about all the meetings and emails and things that had been going on that he wasn't involved with. So it wouldn't have been a great idea to throw him in with the at this meeting without that background.
Oh, through the chair, none of us probably have that background then and are unaware of that. So were you able to forward us that information so we're all up to date with what's going on?
I believe the information has been forwarded since then. Is that right, Kerry?
Since you went to the meeting that Councillor Tully hadn't had prior?
So Councillor Tully was sent the information prior, after he requested to go to the meeting. I don't know if the councillors were sent that.
So through you, Madam Mayor, I think you're asking whether there's been a briefing on the outcome of the North West Water meeting.
No, what I was saying is Councillor Tully couldn't go because he's unaware of all the emails that have been happening about that.
Sorry, when we had the meeting, and we definitely had a meeting with minutes, we agreed with Cloncurry that we would send the Mayor of Mount Isa and the Mayor of Cloncurry to the meeting. And then the week before we're due to go, then that's when Councillor Tully said he would like to go. But we'd already made an agreement with Cloncurry.
But I guess the point being is you were probably aware of our desire to have Councillor Tully in attendance because of his long history with this project, but maybe that should have been brought up with the meeting at Cloncurry? That's
exactly what I was saying, is that was the time for me, and Councillor Tully was there and he didn't say anything.
Oh, he was there at the meeting with Cloncurry?
Yes, it's in the minutes, I checked it, he was there and he didn't say anything. And that was his opportunity, and it was after, Councillor, you had suggested he go. So It's great for you to lobby for him to go, but he should be lobbying for himself to go.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think the important thing is to go back to the minutes themselves, are going to be adopted by council or not.
Okay, so let's just go to the vote. All those in favour? And that's
And I
carried.
want it recorded, please.
All right, that takes us to item 6.2, and that's the 22nd of June 2021, the special council meeting minutes. Would someone like to put forward the motion of the officer's recommendation that the minutes of the special meeting held on the 21st of June 2021 as received and be confirmed?
Move Barwick.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Anyone would like to comment on this one?
Yes, through the chair, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to say, as my I actually phoned in to that meeting, and I just don't know. It doesn't say I had a comms failure at all. It just gives me that I did say to Carrie that if my comms did fail, I would be an apology. But I'd just like it noted that my comms did fail to that meeting.
Did we have it as an apology? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, yep,
That's fine.
Thank you.
thank you.
Through the chair, Madam Mayor, I just wonder if there are other events like this. What is the process around that if there is a comms failure and people are actually attending? Perhaps the CEO might know more. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that's probably a good question to ask at LGAQ tomorrow, which would be a good one to ask there. It would also be a good one to ask when there's further training coming up from the department, which is scheduled over the next 3 weeks. So there were best endeavours done,
Yeah.
and no one knows how to control the communication.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions, all those in favour? And that's carried. All right, this takes us to item 7, which is the development and land use, and this is Councillor George Fortune.
Thank you very much. Just find the... I'll get a hard copy, yes, please, Carrie. So I just don't have the wording in the... All right.
You go to page 3.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. The offer's recommendation is that Council receives and accepts the Q4, April to June 2021 Development and Land Use Quarterly Report. And I'd like to move that recommendation.
Thank you. And can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Would anyone like to speak on this?
Yeah, I'll just go through the summary if you don't mind, Madam Mayor. I've just got to find that again. All right, so the fourth quarter of the financial year, sort of continuation of COVID-19 social distancing rules still being in effect. With the development applications during the fourth quarter, the council received 5 development applications and approved 6 development applications. Decrease in the number of applications received from the previous quarter being 6, and an increase compared to the same quarter of the last financial year being 2. Council received 6 boundary clearance dispensation applications and approved 4 applications during the quarter. This has increased in the number of applications received compared to the same quarter of the financial year last year, being 5. There's also building applications, a total of 17 notice of engagements were received by Council during the quarter. A total of 17 building approvals were issued by private building certifiers this quarter.
There's a slight increase compared to the previous quarter being 15 and a decrease compared to the same quarter in the previous financial year being 20. Of the 17 building approvals, there was a total of 28 structures for which building permits were issued. Total value of the building works approved by Mount Isa local government area for this financial year is $8.9 million, which is a decrease of $2 million compared to the last financial year. And just to finish, I suppose, for the property searches, which is a decrease in the last quarter, there's council received a total of 107 property search requests for the quarter. This is a decrease compared with the last quarter being 134, and an increase compared to the same quarter of the last financial year being 95. Of the 107 requests, 97 were for residential properties and 7 were for commercial properties, and 3 requests were for certificates of classification. I guess there with the property searches, it still shows there's interest in the residential market in Mount Isa, which is good for Mount Isa. Although a decrease in the previous quarter, it's still high and shows that there is interest in housing in Mount Isa.
That is good news. Anyone else would like to make any comments on this one?
Yeah, I'd just like to, with the Development and Land Use Department, I know we've got a lot of work happening and they're always busy. Are we turning over inquiries in that department in a timely manner?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I might ask the manager to respond to that.
Sorry.
We'll just get you a microphone.
Yep.
We do have a lot of inquiries in relation to planning matters. A lot of them don't go forward, but they do require an extensive response. And particularly since we've got a new planning scheme, which is a lot more codes applicable to these developments. So, I mean, you know, it is a complex field, as you're aware, and you do have about 3 pages worth of response to each request. So, while we do try to turn them around in a timely manner, that...
Okay. Rightio, thank you.
Any other questions on this one? Or comments? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to the 7.2 for Councillor Fortune.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 7.2 is a state lease renewal for land described as Lot 1 on Crown Plan M75857, the Island BMX Club. There's 3 options there for the officer's recommendation. I'll be moving option 1, and that is that council advises the Department of Resources that council will support the Island BMX Club's application for renewal of tenure over the land described as Lot 1 on Crown Plan M75857, 4th Avenue, Mount Isa, and that council agrees to offer the Island BMX Club a trustee lease agreement over the encroached portion of the Lot 1 on SP 312347, subject to the following: A, offer a trustee lease term to coincide with state lease term dates. B, state and council terms and conditions to apply. And C, finance section to determine the lease fees. And D, council decides to allocate a budget to engage a native title specialist to undertake negotiations and Indigenous land use agreements, ILUA, and with all costs associated with the Indigenous land use agreement, ILUA, be absorbed by council.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Would anyone like to second this motion?
Seconded.
Thank
Coghlan.
you. Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. Would anyone like to speak on this motion?
I'd just like to speak to that motion, Madam Mayor. The BMX, Island BMX Club Mount Isa has been affected, I suppose, as any other sporting organisation around the country has by the COVID, and the current financial state of the club, plus the turnover of executive membership and leadership. I don't believe that they're in a position at the moment to pay the fees that are outgoing through the lease to the determination of the lease and the costs involved with it. I think council is in a position to assist at this point in time for the BMX club to maintain their presence in the city, and that's why I've called for the option 1 for the motion to support the BMX club to continue in Mount Isa and get on their feet. And although not stated, I suppose, in any of the other documentation, personally I would like to see the BMX club probably move out of that part of the riverbed to develop more, but that is dependent on their executive and their ability to attract funding. So at the moment, as it stands, I believe they need support, and that is why I put motion 1 forward.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Any other comments on this one?
Yeah, through the chair, can I just get clarification on what I've just seconded? There is another part to that, or are we just stopping there?
Through the chair, that's the motion that I moved, option 1, but there's other 2 options. There's 3 options altogether.
Next bit says all, Councillor Coghlan.
No, if there's the last part to is that council advised the BMX club. You didn't read that part out.
That's all.
That will be part of option
That's
3,
all.
I'm guessing.
Okay.
Or option,
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
that's or.
Yep. Or it's the second part of it. Yep.
So we had to choose either
Yep.
the first bit or the second bit, and he went the first bit.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. I will support that motion.
Through the chair, Madam Mayor, look, I think it'd be, council really should support this going ahead, this sport. It's been a very active sport over a long period of time. They have had dips like most other sporting organisations, and I don't think we should do anything to jeopardise that at the present time. I think they can be a flourishing club. I do have a question though about the native title costs, and I wonder if we have any precedents around council absorbing the costs in situations like this, because I just don't want us to fall into the trap of having to, fund those sorts of land use agreement costs every time there's any leases subject to this. Yeah.
I suppose through the chair, the manager will be able to give us an idea of what those costs would be.
Can't hear you, sorry.
The negotiations with the Calcaboon people. So that, as well as solicitors' costs. Also, it'll be a survey plan cost. There's a few costs involved in this particular.
Yeah, I think my question was more about though, have council actually absorbed these costs before on leases such as this, or in the situation going forward, will we be obliged to absorb the costs as they come up continually because we set a precedent
I think
with
it's
this particular one?
unusual though, isn't it? Because they've already encroached, so usually it's them asking for more land, but this time they've accidentally encroached. That's what I thought it was?
Yes, that's correct, Madam Mayor. That the encroachment's been happening since, I think it was about 1978, so it's gradually gone over and over. Nobody was aware of it until such time as this lease renewal come up, because it was for 30 years, I think it was 20, 30 years. And so it was then realised that there was an encroachment to have to deal with as part of this.
Thank you.
Through the
Does that
chair,
answer your
on further looking at that, I think Councillor Coghlan may indeed have been correct. There is an and. Is that correct? That council advised the Island BMX Club that where the trustee lease and ILUA cannot be successfully negotiated, or the Island Bowls Club do not take up council's offer, the Island BMX Club are required to remove their existing infrastructure and improvements from the adjoining Leichhardt River Reserve, and the club is to remediate. Is that right?
So if you look at the bottom of the first page on 3,
Yeah. So it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
That needs to
no,
be
but he didn't put the motion forward for
Yep.
the second or D. It
With
was
that
the first
in.
D. Yes. So that was the motion.
Yes, that's right, yeah,
Yeah.
but,
So that should be part of that motion,
No,
shouldn't it?
no.
Yes.
so that
No, no.
motion will have to be voted on and not go through, and another motion will have to be put up.
No,
Sorry,
that
through
was, he put forward the right D though.
No,
the
he
chair.
didn't.
Through the chair, the Ds, the difference in
He
the
did-
Ds
You
is
definitely
that,
did and then D though.
the difference in the Ds is that council cover the cost of the native title, or
Yeah.
the BMX club, over the term of the lease, absorb it. And I think
Yep.
the manager can confirm that.
He did that one, but then not the last part of it.
It's an all.
No, I just went for the first part
And
of
it's
it.
that and, we need that in there as well, because obviously the BMX club will have to advise us of their intentions.
Yeah, I agree. It'll
Yeah.
take place either way.
So it's a
depending on
separate,
what's
it's not
It's part of the
D,
motion.
yeah.
Part of the initial motion.
Yeah. So can we have an amendment to that motion, or have we got to pass? Okay.
Look, yeah, I was just a little bit confused over that because it was just an and an or, and I went with the first part of it. But look, if that's the way that it's worded to cover council and the BMX club, I'm happy to amend that. So it just talks about whether council has the costs in the first D or the over the lease,
I think it doesn't help it changes.
the trustee or the leasee covers those costs over the term of the lease. I suppose we would have to have that and or is. Sorry, through the chair, is that
Pick a D.
correct?
and
with the
Yeah.
So
And then you go-
you've
go to
picked
the
a D and then you just got to finish with the and.
yeah, it's just my understanding the difference between the Ds was either council absorbed the costs or
Yep.
the
That's right.
costs
Yeah.
get put onto the lease and for the BMX club to cover, and I wasn't in favour of that. But if it's worded so that there's something like the ILUA cannot be successfully negotiated, well, we have to have some sort of backup there. All right, so yes, look, I'm happy to amend that to include the and or and.
Seconder.
Yes, to put in that council advise the Island BMX Club that where a trustee lease or ILUA, yep.
Yep.
Cannot be negotiated, that part. That has to
Okay.
be in the motion as well.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, good-
apologies for the
Good
confusion
pick up,
there. I
councillor
just-
Coghlan. We all,
No, well, I just thought that the difference was council paying for the lot and the BMX club taking on the cost of the lease.
and can I just ask a question now that I realise that last bit's in there? So does this mean they've got to remove the infrastructure from that spot and then we do the searches and native title and then we come back and they can put it back there?
No, Madam
No, it's
Mayor.
not how I read it, no.
Oh, okay, so-
No.
So what is it?
It just means that if they don't take up the council officer, in my view, if they don't take up the council's offer of this, that they're required to
can be
remove the
Oh,
infrastructure. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yep.
So that-
Yeah, Madam
Keep us
Mayor, or
informed.
it's,
Yeah, the thing then is that they'd have to realign their tracks and it just won't be like, you know, a suitable track for BMX, but that's down the
see.
track. I think if we move through the ILUA and see if it can be negotiated, we'll take the steps on from there.
All right, that sounds great. Okay, I think we ironed out a few,
Yeah, through the chair, Madam Mayor, I really, I asked a question about the precedents. I really haven't had that answered suitably, in my view. I'm just wondering if council, you know, would continually get stuck with funding Indigenous land use agreements
through
and
the
absorbing
chair,
those
look-
costs, you know, in other situations like this.
Well, through the chair, the situations like this would come up for council agreement, and my positive for the motion was that the BMX club in particular is struggling, and I guess that's a precedent we'd have to have a look at, and each of those precedents would come before council for negotiation and discussion before we make a decision on it. So, you know, I can't say if there has been precedents set with ILUAs before,
I don't believe there was in the previous 2 terms, but yeah, like everything that comes in front of council for these types of things, it's just discussed and voted on their merit. And I honestly can't recall any previous instances where this type of discussion has come before council before.
Okay. Thanks, councillor.
Thank you. If there's no other queries on this one, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to item 7.3, which is the council horse paddocks. And back to Councillor Fortune.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'll move the officer recommendation that council offer trustee permits for a term of 3 years over the existing tenured horse paddock on council trust land described as part of the lot 72 on SP 134707 and lot 73 on SP 265806 with the inclusion of the following requirements. A, watering times and availability of effluent water is at council's discretion. B, provision and method of supply is at council's discretion. C, council is not responsible for providing water for horses in the event of equipment failure.
Thank you. And would someone like to second Councillor Fortune's motion?
Second, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would you like to speak on behalf of this motion? Councillor Fortune?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, the horses leases were tied up in the last term. We just have to keep that flow going. I think it's an ongoing management plan, I suppose, for council to manage those leases for the betterment of the community, and so that the people who have horses and utilise those leases can do it within the rules of state and also council, and there's no impost on ratepayers who don't have horses. I think the trustee permits and the rules around them at the moment are quite good. The way that they've been set out over the lease terms offer it's able to offer the people who have horses the opportunity to house their horses and have access to them. I think it's fair, and it's it aligns with the council responsibilities. So that's why I'm for that motion.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment on this one?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I seconded the motion. I concur with what Councillor Fortune's saying. I think the horse paddocks are a very unique facility that Mount Isa City Council is able to provide. It certainly goes towards our lifestyle here and our livability, and provides facilities for people that want to own horses close to town, with a few amenities there, such as the water and the fencing and those sorts of things. So I fully support the motion. I'd just like to point out that it is a user pays basis, and that council are always monitoring and making sure that the ratepayers aren't impacted by this significantly.
Thank you, Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And I think it's great that the council are trialling a different way of distributing the water as well, to try and see if they can get on top of some of the water problems with not having enough pressure. So that's I'd be interested to see how the outcome for that one. So if there's no more comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to item 8, which is works and construction, which is Councillor Mick Tully. And the officer's recommendation, if someone would like to move it, is that council receives and accepts the June 2021 Technical Services Monthly Report.
Moved, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to second that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Would someone like to speak on behalf of that motion?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Councillor Tully's an apology, so I'll do my best with this this particular portfolio. I'll just have to. My laptop shut down, so I'll just bring that back up again. Oh, thanks. Okay, so yeah, the main projects overview is things are progressing along. We've been doing a lot of work on the cycle paths around the town. I think the big ticket item at the moment is the waste management facility, where the waste transfer station and the storage shed are approaching completion. And there's a lot of planning and design work being done for many items, including the materials recovery facility and the Gallipoli Park recreation development and design and construct. And there is a community consultation this evening to try and finalise some of those that planning work. Also note that the Outback at Isa master plan is complete now and is being circulated, awarded to council in recent, well, during the month and in recent times. So I'd just like to commend the executive and the staff who are involved in those applications, because we're having quite a good strike rate with funding applications. So it's great to see it coming in to help us improve the city. There's a lot of funding work and completion work outside of the city, of course, on the rural roads, including Gunpowder, Camberwell, Old May Downs and Lake Julius roads and Moondara Road. So they need work pretty much every year because of the nature of the roads. We're also working on the walking network pilot program, so that's in terms of extra shade trees in the CBD and design work around the CBD. And I note that the reseals are continuing around town. The ones that I've seen have been done very professionally, and the contractors working on that, and if there are council staff as well, their management of the traffic and all of that is very professional, and much appreciated to see that. And the job they're doing is quite good as well. It's very sound. I note the concrete batch plant is back fully recommissioned now, and it's capable of producing high quality mixes, so it's great to see that after the little bit of hiccup we had during the end of last year. And the only other thing I want to point out at this point is that the new garbage trucks are still on track to arrive here in September. They have been held up for various reasons, but we're sort of awaiting them with bated breath. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would anyone else like to comment?
Can I just comment through the chair on the great work that we're doing for the bird watching, and I see it's nearly complete. How are we going to get that out? Like when people come to town, is that something that Outback at Isa will be, showing visitors? Like, does that go on their program of events around Mount Isa? How are we going to promote it?
I think this is Councillor McRae's
Yeah, that will be my portfolio, and I was involved initially in that project. There was talk of when people came to Outback at Isa, there would be a map giving them the locations of where they could go to view the birds and the different species, but also, like when you go out to the lake, you can see the sign with the different species there, and yeah.
Okay.
So I think there'll be a combination of a lot of things, but I'm not sure that the actual marketing strategy has been developed or gone out yet.
Rightio. And the
Through the chair, sorry, before we go on, through the chair, there are a number of things already that Outback at Isa do distribute to visitors, and that includes material about birds and the type of species and where they're located around Mount Isa and the dam and out. And also there's the Arts Network walking trail. So I believe that this particular trail of the bird watching will be just added to that as well.
Okay then. And the other thing, there's the walking network or whatever from Camberwell Street to Lynch Street. I'd just like someone to be able to tell me where Lynch Street is, because I've lived in Mount Isa all my life and I don't know Lynch Street, I'm sorry. So I'd just like to be updated on that.
Geography quiz?
Google Maps.
Where? Lynch. Oh, where the car park is.
So we've got Little West Street Lane, and that behind that is Lynch Street.
okay,
Oh,
I
there you
know
go.
Something every day.
It's not on the Mount Isa map, so that better be updated.
I've learnt a couple of things today.
Righto, thank you for that.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to 8.2, which is the Road Reserve Policy 2021. And would someone like to move the officer's recommendation that council reclassifies the Road Reserve Policy from statutory policy to strategic policy, and that council adopts the Road Reserve Policy version 4?
Moved. Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to second that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you. And Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of that motion? Just to put you on the spot there.
No, that's fine, Madam Mayor. Look, I think this is largely administrative in its makeup, so there's no actual changes to the policy apart from the some movement of text and fonts and things like that. So I'm happy to support it. I will just ask for a little bit of clarification, though, on the nature of the change from a statutory policy to a strategic policy. Does that have any ongoing implications for council, or what is the reason behind that? Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll pass over to the CEO.
Through you, Madam Mayor. No, it's simply so we can list it appropriately in our policy and procedures database. That's where it is at the moment. So
Okay.
it's a statutory one that needs to be implemented by our officers, so not a strategic document.
Okay, yeah. No, thank you, Madam Mayor. Happy to support it.
Thank you. If there's no more comments,
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, it was the other way round.
Yeah.
It's the strategy that it's informed rather than the statutory. So it's been moved, so it informs the planning scheme rather than sitting outside.
Mm.
okay.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no more comments, all those in favour, and that's carried. And this one takes us to item 9, which is the beautification, parks, gardens and youth, and that's Councillor Kim Coughlin.
Just like to read out the officer's recommendation that council receives and accepts the June 2021 Parks and Gardens monthly report.
So you're moving that motion? Councillor Coughlin?
Yep, move that motion.
And can I get a seconder for that motion?
Don't hurry.
McRae.
Councillor McRae.
We're coming.
Do you have any comments on this motion?
Yeah, I've just got a few queries, as usual. Fencing construction of Charlie Steen Park and Bob Gardner Park. Why, the Bob Gardner Park, why was that needed to be fenced?
Through you, Madam Mayor, Director Wallace, are you aware of that one?
That has just been ongoing. My understanding as to the
Yeah, this is the first I've ever heard that park is being fenced, but I know Minnie Davis Park has been fenced, so it might be a type. Yep, okay. Because I know Minnie Davis Park has, the fencing on there has been finished, which looks really, really good. The barbecues are going out at Rotary Park, which is near the Moondara Crossing. And I'd just like, through the chair, if I could have an update on how council are going to go about cleaning the street bins in Mount Isa, in the CBD.
So
Over to you, CEO.
So through you, Madam Mayor, I'm happy to be corrected by the interim director, but we've actually ordered as part of last year's capital works program, I'm going to guess 24 bin covers that are actually going to be installed over the bins. A number of the existing covers have been not cleaned properly, have been set on fire at times, and need a revamp. Now the covers that we're getting at the moment will not be themed. It is likely in the future the covers will be themed, and they will be informed by the master plan for the central business area. Therefore, those unthemed covers will then go to other areas of the municipality. So they're due to arrive probably in the next 3 weeks. As they arrive, each bin location will be cleaned out, a new bin will be put in, and the cover will be put in as well. Director Smith, anything I've missed?
I do understand all that, but the bins are in a state at the moment, and I believe we need to do something within the next 3 weeks to do them. Like, we're in high tourist season here. But even not, I mean, the people in the community, you know, we should be setting the standard. So I'm just asking if we could do something before the bin covers arrive.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Director Wallace, can you ask Manager Pitt to see what can be done in relation to whichever staff we have available at the moment?
And then I'd just like an update on the footpath cleaner that I'm sure we ordered one, the scrubber.
So, through you, Madam Mayor, the manager of Parks and Operations and Works is sick of me asking about this.
Okay.
I asked again earlier this week. I think it was on Tuesday. It is. If it's not still on the boat, it's off the boat. Do you know where it is? Thank you.
As long as it's on the road, main thing. Okay then, and the last one, there is a bit, we've done a very good job at the river clean-up on the weekend. Looks really good, but we've still got the problem at Alma Street crossing there. We've still got that car in there that's been there for quite a long time. Is there any way council can work with the fire department to maybe do a training exercise in cutting it up with their little
Jaws of life.
jaws of life and having it removed that way? I mean, it's going to be a big job to remove it, but it looks unsightly. It's getting more and more damaged, and it really shouldn't be in the riverway.
So through you, Madam Mayor, council got some initial costs on having that taken out. Those costs were pretty high.
Yep.
I'm happy to go back and see if Director Wallace can identify through the manager if there's any way we can get it out of there at this point in time.
Could we look at the option of working with the fire department?
Yep. I do, through you, Madam Mayor, I do believe we were pursuing the owner at some point, but I don't think the owner's here anymore.
Okay then. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. And can I just acknowledge the great work Council did by actually installing a gate restricting access through the Indigelingi community kindergarten. On one side there's a kindergarten, on the other side there's the aged care, and they were experiencing people going through at high speed. So it's really great to hear that the council has stepped up and put a restriction, made it a little bit tougher for people just to use it as a thoroughfare. So great work.
If I may, through you, Madam Mayor, just responding to the comment made by Councillor Coghlan, can I just express my thanks to the staff that worked in cleaning up the riverbank. There was over 4.5 tonnes of rubbish removed, 80 litres of alcohol dealt with. The council engaged someone on a drone, which really was useful because that managed to identify people that were still in the riverbank when the burn had commenced, if I'm not mistaken, Director Wallace. And I will present back to council the final costs involved in this process as well. Each person is job costed to this project, and it is not an insubstantial amount.
Thank you. And I guess from my perspective, it was fantastic work, because I'm certain that no one wants to be walking around in those kind of conditions picking up rubbish. So big congratulations to Manawa City Council staff. But also it is concerning that there's a potential for 4.5 tonne of rubbish to go into our water supply into Lake Mundara. So that you know, at some point we are going to have the discussion about people illegally camping at the Leichhardt River. Okay, so if there's no more comments on this, all those in favour? It's carried. Okay, so that takes us right back. I just jumped 20 ahead then, so I'll go back here.
10.1.
Do you want me to go? Tourism, events, sport, recreation.
Oh, yeah, so it was to hand over to Councillor McRae.
Okay, I'd like to move that council receives and accepts the June 2021 Library Monthly Report.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Stratton.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Would you like to speak on behalf?
I will. The executive summary just speaks about library hosting 3 work experience students from Good Shepherd Catholic School. It also mentions that we participated at the show. We had a stall there for council, and the library also took part in that. I know myself and a lot of the councillors went along and spent time at that stand over show weekend, and we got to talk with lots of people and give them lots of information, so that was a really worthwhile activity. Also, I'd like to congratulate the library and staff on the school holidays activity they ran. I know the community was really pleased and participated very well in that. So, yeah, thanks to the library staff. And also ongoing, we have our cuppa with the councillor sessions continuing.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Does anyone else have any comments on this one?
Oh, I would just like to say a big thank you to the Mount Isa City Council for doing the work experience students. And it would be good to see a lot of other businesses in Mount Isa. I know both schools, Spinifex as well as Good Shepherd, do a really good job with promoting this, but it would be a good opportunity. I'd like to see a lot of other businesses in Mount Isa take up the opportunity. So hopefully if we can just keep leading the way, they might follow.
Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. And I just want to concur. I took my kids to a lot of free events over the school holidays, and there's nothing better than sitting in the audience and hearing this is a free event thanks to Mount Isa City Council. So I think the community were very happy with the school holiday festivities. Okay, so...
yeah, Madam Chair, I'd just like to mention the cuppa morning tea with the councillors, as Councillor McRae's pointed out, has been going well, and I think that it is a good thing, and it's actually giving a cohort of people in town who probably don't have social media and that, because they're picking a lot of this up off the newsletter that we're producing, the fact that there's a morning tea on, so there's a couple of things there working quite well for council to get our messages out, and we're certainly hearing a different range of views from people than we normally see on the social media. So yeah, some of them with thanks, and others that they have genuine matters that they raise that we can deal with, and I think it's quite a good pathway for us to engage. Yeah, thank you.
Couldn't agree more, Deputy Mayor, and just some people have some good ideas as well that they just want to share. So I think it's a really good event. So if there's no more comments, all those in favour? That's carried, and that takes us to our next item, which is back to Councillor McRae.
Okay, I'd like to remove that council endorse the nominated date for the 2022 Mount Isa Agricultural Show holiday to occur on Friday the 17th of June 2022.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Can someone second this motion?
Seconded, Coghlan.
Thank you, Councillor Coghlan. Would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
No, I guess everyone's aware that every year we have a show holiday, and this is just formalising which date it's going to be held for next year.
Thank you. There's no other comments?
Chair, I'll just add there is another aspect to this. The state government have allowed 7-day trading to occur on that weekend as well, over the public holiday and the Sunday. So they're calling it a strategic public event or something. So that allows them to just have that availability for a couple of extra days. So thank you.
Thank you. There's no more other comments. All those in favour? And that's carried. So now this takes us to item 11, which is the environmental management, and that's over to Councillor Paul Stratton.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Water and sewer report, monthly report. Officer's recommendation there is council receives and accepts the June 2021 water and sewer monthly report.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Would you like to speak on behalf of that motion, Councillor Stratton?
Yeah, just a few things happening there. Ongoing work still continues with all our water mains. We've got the water going to the Mount Isa campgrounds now. I've heard back from the camp drafters. Big thank you there. The chlorinators have been installed along the Micah Creek Road and the Moondara Caravan Park respectively. Some minor work remains to commission the facilities. However, once this has taken place, the boil water notices in both areas should be lifted. And notice to the horse paddock permitters were advised on the 8th of June that the new trial arrangement would be implemented from Monday the 14th of June, splitting the paddocks into groups to provide a more even distribution of pressure. Each group will receive recycled water for a 2-hour period twice a day. This temporary arrangement has been implemented for the trial period of 6 weeks to ensure that it meets its intended objective. And that should go a long way to alleviating the problems out there with some people getting a lot of water, some people not getting a lot of water. So it should cover that.
Thank you. Thanks you, Councillor Stratton. Any other comments or questions on this one? All right, all those in favour? And that's carried, and that takes us to 11.2 and back to Councillor Stratton again.
Yes, Environmental Services Monthly Report. Council receives and accepts the 2021 Environmental Services Monthly Report.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Would you like to speak on behalf of this motion, Councillor Stratton?
Yeah, a bit of an operational overview there. Council Environmental Service Department delivered the following services in June, responded to 4 services requests in relation to public health concerns, action 1 food recall notification, inspected 14 food businesses, investigated 2 incidents relating to littering and illegal dumping, inspected 113 sites across Mount Isa and Kenmwill, treating 58 active breeding sites for mosquitoes, continued regular spraying of invasive weed species, investigated 11 environmental cases, and attended the Townview School Under 8 Day and undertook various activities to educate children on waste management and hygiene, and 10 trees were donated as part of the day's activities. That's it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments on this one?
Yeah, just through the chair, I know we've done a fair bit of work with mosquitoes on the creeks and all that around town, but Stinky Creek, talking to a few of the residents there, the mosquitoes are quite bad again. Have we got anything in our schedule? And they have reported it to council.
Would you be referring to Breakaway Creek, Councillor Coghlan?
Well, there's 2 parts of it. I don't know what Stinky Creek's called.
It is Breakaway Creek, yes.
Yep.
Mile Street.
Not Sunset Bridge.
Mile Street.
Yeah, Mile Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I don't know what the Vector Control Officer's schedule is at this point, but we can feed that back to council after this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other queries on this?
Just a experience through that, because I live near Breakaway Creek too as well. Whenever we do get a wind change from the northerly direction, there's a lot of mosquitoes that are out around the lake, and they get blown up the river and into town too as well. So that's an experience that happens every time there's a wind change.
Okay. Right, if there's no more comments, all those in favour? That's carried.
11.3 Local Laws Monthly Report. Officer's recommendation. Council receives and accepts the June 2021 Local Laws Monthly Report.
Thank you. Can I get someone to second that motion, please?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Councillor Stratton, would you like to speak on behalf of that motion?
Yeah, just a bit of an operational overview there. Council is offering 1 or 3 year registrations for cats and dogs. Pet owners will receive renewal notices the last week of July with new lifetime registration tags. The tags are made of durable stainless steel and will give council details and registration on one side. Option for pet owners to engrave on the blank side. Council Rangers went to Kenmwill following up some animal issues out there and overgrown complaints. The riverbed clean-up has already been discussed, so I won't go any on further with that. And the Queensland Police contacted council requesting assistance in seizing native animals that were housed at a private residence. A tawny frogmouth owl and a freshwater crocodile were seized. The crocodile was released back into the lake, Moondara, and the tawny frogmouth was taken to a local vet for assessment. That is a very good point. The residents of Mount Isa need to understand that crocodiles and native birds you must have permits for them if you're going to keep them. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone
And
else?
just be assured that that was a freshwater crocodile, not a saltwater chucked into the lake.
I'm sure it was. Any other comments on this one?
Yeah, I would just like to thank the P&D team for working with local laws and Lani in particular for running the Pets Day. That was a successful day. A lot of people came along, showed off their dogs, kittens, the rest. And yeah, thanks to all staff that attended.
It was a great day, and the most vicious dog was the smallest dog on that day. If there's no more comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, that takes us to our next one, which is back to you, Councillor Stretton, 11.4.
Okay, this is to do with the overflow, caravan overflow charges. Officer's recommendations there. Council approves the charge of $10 per night in the 2021-2022 register of cost recovery fees 2021-2022 for the caravan park overflow permits.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Second, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Now, would you like to speak on behalf of that motion, Councillor?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, it's just, this is just to formulate the amount of caravans we have in town, unprecedented. This, just out of COVID, I suppose everybody's just travelling Queensland
Yeah.
and wanting to come out west, and this just formalises the permit.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess for people who don't know, Tom O'Hara Park is the actual park that is across the road from Mundara Caravan Park, and it's sort of on the corner as you, on your way to the airport, it's on the corner as you turn towards Mundara Caravan Park. It's a absolutely lovely spot, so that's a nice place to open up for tourists coming through, and I know that there are other places for caravanners to park, so if you are looking for somewhere, I advise you to contact Outback Advisor and they'll be able to give you some ideas of places where the overflows are going.
Yeah, can I just add that well done to the caravan parks coordinating this, and the method they've got is that the overflow happens when all the parks are actually full. So, you know, if you're visiting town, your first choice is to go and see if you can get a place in a caravan park, but also it's a great opportunity for sporting clubs and groups to raise funds as well. So if there are people looking for places, I know the golf club's taken full advantage of that, and they're raising some funds for their club, so well done to them.
That's right, and I hear the Camp Draft are also looking as well.
Yes, I think the Camp Draft are very keen to participate and get some funds needed for their club as well.
Yeah, so there's a bit of an opportunity here for any enterprising clubs out there.
Madam Chair, I'll just concur with Councillor McRae's statements and other statements as well, that it's good to see Mount Isa City Council and the city stepping up to cater for the additional tourists that are coming in through town. I think this is a bit of a precursor for a few years ahead at the moment, it looks like. So people will be in this sort of, you know, this sort of mentality to travel around Australia by van and things like that. So I think we're going to see more and more of it for quite a while. So it's good to see these things coming to play. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just like to clarify, when I said about the barbecues, they are in Tom O'Hara Park, but I'm going back to my childhood because it was called Rotary Park way back in the day, probably before a lot of the people in this room
Was
were
it
born.
Rotary or Apex Park?
No, that one was Rotary.
Was it Rotary?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We knew where you meant.
we knew
Yeah.
it's a great park. I didn't even realise it was called Tom O'Hara Park. All right, well, if there's no more comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to 11.5 and back to Councillor Stratton again.
Okay. As a service provider under the Water Supply Safety and Reliability Act 2008, the Act, Division 2S 1632B, Mount Isa City Council must annually update the map of services area for retail water services and sewage services for the city of Mount Isa and the town of Kenmwill. The officer's recommendation is Council adopts as per the Water Supply Safety and Reliability Act 2008, Division 2, Section 161, Version 4 of the declared service area for the retail water services and sewage service for Kenmwill and Mount Isa, cities shown in the attached maps, and that Mount Isa City Council is appointed the provider of the retail water services and sewage services for Camberwell and Mount Isa, and that the declared service areas for the retail water services and sewage services for Camberwell, Mount Isa City, incorporated into the Mount Isa City Council annual internal governance audit for future annual reviews.
Thank you. Can I get someone to second this motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Councillor Stratton, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Now, I'll just hand it over to David to give a brief
Yep.
overview on this.
Thank you, councillor Stratton. I'll just hand it over to the Director of Infrastructure to give a brief overview on this.
We're required to give regular updates on the changes in this area. I believe you've mentioned before, with the pipeline being extended out to the camp draft, we're ensuring that is captured within that service area. That is also to ensure that rates are
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair, when you say regularly, like, is there a set time that this has to be done, or do we just do it when we do major works?
We're supposed to review it annually, but
Okay.
where new, it comes back to council as updated if there are any changes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no more questions on this one, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that brings us to 11.6.
6.
Again, over to councillor Stratton. So.
I'd like to put the motion forward that council not approve the drafting of the updated local law number 4, local government controlled area facilities and roads for consultation.
Okay, would anyone like to second that motion? Okay, because of want of a seconder, we'll put that motion, what's the right terminology?
Seek an alternate motion. That motion fails.
That motion fails, that's what I was looking for.
And then you seek someone to move.
Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation that council approve the drafting of an updated local law number 4, local government controlled areas, facilities and roads to provide for no intoxicating liquor allowed on council controlled areas, facilities and roads for consultation?
I would like to move that motion.
Thank you, councillor McRae. Would someone like to second that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Councillor McRae, would you like to speak on behalf of that motion?
Yeah, I think the councillors are just a bit concerned that it would mean that functions aren't able to be held on council controlled facilities. But my understanding is that this is just looking at laws and options that can take place. So that's why I decided to move the motion.
Yep.
So through you, Madam Mayor, the recommendation speaks about drafting and speaks about consultation. So that local law has not yet been formulated. What needs to come out of the drafting and the formulation of the local law is the exemptions that would come through as well. So that once officers have done that, they would then bring that back to council for endorsement, acknowledging how an exemption process would actually go through as well.
Yeah, that's why I feel comfortable in moving the motion, because I think there are council-controlled facilities where alcohol can be an issue. So it is good that we're actually having a look at that to enable us to do something to solve the problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair, I agree with Councillor McRae. The issue of alcohol intoxication in Mount Isa city streets is a concern for the entire community, and I think with the adoptions and of a local law that would give council and the ability to control the in some way the consumption of alcohol publicly.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Anyone else want to comment on this one?
No, thanks.
No? You want to speak against it?
No,
Mr.
no.
Stratton?
No, I'll accept the...
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favour? And that's carried.
No, it's fine.
Through the chair, can I just ask a question about, go back one, 11.5. Did, Councillor Stretton, did you read the last part and that the declared services areas for the retail water over the page? I think we've missed that in the motion.
No, I thought I did read that.
Yeah,
I
think
thought he did as
Covenant
well.
order.
I thought he
annual-
Did he read it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he did, yeah, the three, yeah.
Did you read it? Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you read even over the page.
Oh, okay, that's all right. Blonde moment,
Might have to
sorry.
check the video.
Okay,
Yep,
right.
thank you. And thanks for querying it, councillor Coghlan.
Thank you.
So that now takes us to item 12, and I'll hand over to the Deputy Mayor, councillor Phil Bartlett.
Oh, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move that council receives and accepts the June 2021 customer service monthly report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a second for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of that motion?
Yeah, sure. A busy month during June at customer service. Telephone calls have increased quite significantly. We're averaging 128 a day, up from about 110 or something, I believe. We've taken in 690 customer requests have gone into caseworks during the month. So the breakup of those is there's 165 revenue cases, so that's around payments and account details. There's 131 water and sewerage issues, such as water leaks and water main issues that have been reported. 129 local laws matters, and then 72 waste management issues. So that's the bulk of the items that have been captured into our database system. Out of that 690 cases, there's 542 of them were completed during the month, and that left 148 cases from June still open from the month. I think I'd just like to point out that we're getting an average of 7 or so calls per day in the after hours patches, so that keeps our administration and our workforce quite busy with call outs and such. So so we just like to recognise that and recognise the effort that the staff put into that. That's all after hours. I think that was good to actually clarify that. There was also an issue with the telephone calls being received on the public holidays, which weren't being redirected properly, and the staff have picked up on that, and they're now taking care of the fact that if there is a public holiday, those telephone calls will be sent on to after hours numbers. So, yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Would anyone else want to make a comment or question? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried.
Okay.
Which takes us to the next one. Over to you, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. 12.2, I'll move that council receives and accepts the June 2021 corporate and financial services monthly report.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yeah, sure, Madam Mayor. This is the preliminary figures, I guess, for the financial year. It shows us in quite a healthy position before the auditors come in and slash and burn, but hopefully it won't be too detrimental to us. The result, we forecast a budget at the beginning of the financial year of $2.6 million deficit, and we've actually turned up a $1.9 million surplus. So in our operating results, so I think that's there's quite a few reasons for that, but some of it's around containing costs and those sorts of things. We also received additional revenue from the water board that we weren't expecting, and we've got a higher than expected financial assistance grant payment received during the period as well. The capital expenditure was a bit disappointing, I guess, overall, but there was a lot of reasons for that, in terms of trying to get projects off the ground and, the result from the pandemic's influence on that. So we only managed to shift around about 6.6 million of the subsidies in that, and we were forecasting 16 million, so we're quite a bit down on that. But that's a lot of that flows over into the following year, so we'll be able to pick that back up. So a few things I'd like to point out, that the outstanding age rates balances are sitting at 7.4 million. They're coming down quite a bit each month. However, it is still quite high, and I note that possibly about 5 million of that is in over 180 days, which is, puts our administration in a position where they need to track that money and chase that money, and you will probably see as a result of that there may be some debt recovery coming to a head towards the end of the year, and there may actually be some foreclosures if bills aren't paid in time. The usual bills for the water meters, water consumption notices are all being scheduled and sent out on time. There's also a table there showing our council loan balances. So we're sitting just over 20 million. Once again, this year we haven't borrowed any money against the city accounts. So we're paying down the debt as we continue on, and still managing to get our infrastructure developed through grants and things like that. So cash on hand is sitting at 62 million, and 21 million of that is unrestricted. So once again, we finished the year in quite a healthy position in my view. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, if anyone got any more comments or questions on this one? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. All right, that takes us to 12.3.
Okay, thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll just move that Council receives and accepts the June 2021 Promotions Development Monthly Report.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Deputy Mayor, would you like to make a comment on that motion?
No, I note that we're still trying to engage a manager for this position, and some of the directors are filling in the meantime doing that, and I appreciate the work that they're doing in this regard. It's not always easy to fill positions here, particularly highly skilled positions. We're continuing on with our range of media and our social media promotions and posts. That's all going very well. There's a range of community consultations there that are largely closed now, I believe. Although the skate bowl one may still be open by the look of that. We're still awaiting some community consults information on that to affect the design of the proposed development there. That's all, I think, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Through the chair, can I just speak on the promotions and development? I'm going through the other day on our website, the council's calendar of events. It hasn't got a lot of substance to it. Is there any way that we can update that more regularly and do we have to wait for people to tell us that an event is happening? Like, there's a lot of events in town that are happening, well documented, like, because we know where to look on Facebook and local knowledge, but someone coming in new to the town, if they get onto the council website and look at it, it's not of a very high quality at all. There's very basic things in there. Just my observation, that's all.
Can we get that reviewed? Is that possible?
So through you, Madam Mayor, we can get that reviewed. At the same token, where there is the other calendar of events is on the MICO, on the Outback at Isa and MICO. That has a very detailed list of events on there.
Maybe we could join them.
Well, we do link them.
Oh, okay.
We do link, if I'm not mistaken, we link them already, don't we? But we can go back and have a look at
I must be looking at the wrong one
another
then.
calendar again.
And do we post on our neighbours as well what things are happening, like Mary Muster and things like that? Do we post for our neighbours or just for Mount Isa?
Few of them are on, but there's a lot of events that, unless I'm looking at the wrong thing, but...
Were you looking at the test for the 100 years, Councillor Coughlin?
No, I'm looking at I saw that one, but I didn't look into that. I just went onto the page, onto Mount Isa City Council's calendar of events happening, and yeah, it wasn't. I think we can do a lot better.
Yeah, through the chair. Look, I think, Councillor King, you make a good point. I believe it does come back to not having a manager in that position, and it makes it a bit difficult for people to, align things and get that sort of stuff out. So I would expect that someone highly skilled in that position would possibly review that fairly quickly. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, councillor Coghlan.
See you again.
Okay, so that,
Okay, Madam Mayor, I'll continue on.
we've got to vote.
Oh, we've got to
Yeah,
vote, yes.
I sort of went. All those in favour? That's carried. And that takes us to our next one, which is 12.4.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. So I'll move that council adopts the 2021-22 procurement policy with financial delegations register as presented.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Would you like to speak on behalf of that motion?
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, it's largely a review of the annual review, I believe, of the policy. So there's very little change to the current one, except for the usual fonts and indents and things like that. So yeah, I'd support the review of the policy. Thanks.
And can I get a seconder for that?
McRae.
Thank you, councillor McRae. Would anyone like to speak on behalf of?
Sorry, through Madam Mayor, we had a second.
You already had a second.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't.
Sorry, I was too busy just looking. It is
Yeah,
only the
sorry.
dates that have changed.
Does anyone else want to speak on behalf of the procurement policy? I think we've sort of recognised that there may have been a failure with our procurement policy, especially with procurement. Has that been looked into?
So through Madam Mayor, this is realistically just about changing the titles
dates,
of the people within the procurement policy. Other than that, feedback from Queensland Treasury Corporation is that our procurement policy is working really well.
Okay, so it's probably more employee
No, I haven't got a lot of employee error either. At the moment, the procurement process is going pretty well, and there's a high level of compliance. And recently, Council rolled out employee code of conduct training, and part of that is procurement all over again. So it's front and centre of
Yeah.
each person's mind.
And look, last year when we did the pre-qualifications, that seems to be now, it seemed to have failed. So is that been looked at?
Not sure if they've failed. Through Madam Mayor, we've revised all of those supply panels, and that's an ongoing basis that goes through.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, probably it's a unique. What we've got maybe is unique, so maybe we just look at it separately.
Yep.
Okay. If no one else has got any comments on this one, all those in favour, and that's carried. Okay, well, over to you again, Deputy Mayor, 12.5.
Are we 12.5? Oh, that's a late.
It's the RADF.
Yes, thank you. Okay, thanks, Madam Mayor. This is the Regional Arts Development Fund Round 3, which is closed. We received one application, so I'll move that Council endorse the RADF Committee's recommendation to award Regional Arts Development Fund 2020-21 Round 3 funding to the following organisation, the recipient being Heather Johnson, and the project is capturing stories of the drover's life. The amount is $3,500, including GST.
Thank you so much. Can I get a seconder for that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Councillor Fortune, thank you. Would you like to speak on behalf of this motion, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. We didn't get a lot of applications in this round. However, this is a great little project, and it is focused on the Drovers Festival in Camooweal, and there will be a person interviewing drovers and capturing them on tape and video to record their stories. You know, as time goes on, these stories become less and less available. So it's I've seen a few of these things done before, and they do come out very, very well. And I think you know, if we can have ownership of this product, then I think we'll be able to utilise it in our tourism venues and things like that as well. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And would anyone else like to comment on this one?
You threw the chair to the deputy mayor. So is it going to be made in a book, or what did you say, a video?
No, it's recording of the actual interviews taking place and the drovers going over their stories and providing information to the.
So where are they
and that'll
held?
be-
Like, how do people?
They'll be interviewed on site during the Drovers Festival,
Yep.
and they'll be captured on video, and that'll be how it'll be.
Yeah, but then
presented. It'll be
how do
edited
people?
and- Oh, look, it'll be used, you know, in whatever activities that we would like it to be. It'll be available to council, it'll be available to the public,
Okay.
and we'll look to store that somewhere.
So when you say it was a low number, do we not get many applications for the RADA funding, or
No.
was this round just quite?
No,
small?
it happens from time to time where we might only get one application. Sometimes we get none, other times we get
Okay.
a full house, you know, so it's
Rightio.
just depending on where the artists are and what they're feeling
Yep.
like doing, you know, so they're a bit bohemian in their nature, so.
No worries. When will the next round be up?
We have completed the 2021 rounds now, I believe, so we start the new round. We've been awarded the funding just recently, so I hope that's not embargoed, but but it looks positive anyway that
Okay.
we're getting funding for the next year,
Rightio.
and that it has to go through council, I believe. So yeah, there'll be new rounds. You know, it's got a funny year end. I think it's in October it finishes
Okay.
actually. So the next round's not far away anyway. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
So through the chair, Deputy Mayor, Heather Johnson, she's from Camberwell, is she?
No, she does this kind of thing around the countryside. Yeah.
So through the chair to probably, as you mentioned, Deputy Mayor, it'd be a timely reminder for the locals to get their heads around possible new RADF funding opportunities too as well. It's difficult to get the respondents to come back, but I think with a little bit of coaxing through our newsletter, through our social media and the website, I think we should get it out there and get the local artists thinking about potential projects.
Yeah, we do a bit of advertising, but there's always room to do, you know, add to it and
Bit more, yeah.
and do an extra bit. Just through the chair, we do have a range of council-initiated projects coming up as well that are being steered by the RADF committee. So
Nice.
we're looking forward to those going ahead as well. So there's not a shortage of art projects per se, but trying to engage with the arts community in Mount Isa is the thing that we can improve on that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there any other? I think that was pretty robust then. All those in favour? And that's carried. Okay, so that takes us now to the item 13, which is the executive services, and this is the Chief Executive Officer, David Keenan. And would someone like to move the motion of the officer's recommendation that council receives and accepts the June 2021 council decisions report?
Move, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to second this motion?
I'll second it,
Thank you,
McRae.
Councillor McRae. Would anyone like to speak on behalf of this motion?
It's an update on the council decision reports, and I don't believe there's been any significant changes there, and things are going along as well as they can be. So thank you.
Thank you very much. All those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to item 13.2, which is the correspondence report, June 2021. And would someone like to move the officer's recommendation that council receives and accepts the June 2021 correspondence report?
Move, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to second that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Any comments on this one? Okay.
Sorry, Madam
no,
Mayor.
okay.
Yeah, it's a good range of letters in there. I was just coming to them. I note the letter there from Mayor Tom Tate. I'll just highlight, which sort of supports our motion to the LGAQ later this year around the charging for people to submit complaints to the Office of the Independent Assessor. So it seems that there is some sort of support out there in council land around this particular motion that we've put up. So yeah, I think it's good that we posted that letter. in the report, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else want to make any comments of some of the correspondence? Or okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. Actually, and that takes us to item 13.3, and that's the endorsement of the 2021 Queensland Local Government Grants Commission Methodology Review Submission. And the officer's recommendation, if someone would like to move it, is that council officially endorses the 2021 Queensland Local Government Grants Commission Methodology Review Submission.
Moved, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to second that motion?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you. Would anyone like to comment on this motion?
Just to say, Madam Mayor, that there's been quite a piece of work done here by the CEO and any of the directors that were involved, so I'd just like to commend them on that. It's first time that this review's happened in quite a long time on how the financial assistance grants are distributed around Queensland, so it's good that we've been able to get our point of view in there around how it should be distributed. So yeah, look forward to some of those items being taken up.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, all those in favour? And that's carried. Which takes us to item 13.4, which is contact with lobbyists, developers and submitters policy. And if someone would like to move the officer's recommendation that council adopt the contact with lobbyists, developers and submitters policy as presented.
McRae, I'll move.
Thank you, Councillor McRae, and seconded
Seconded, Fortune.
George Fortune. Anyone want to comment on this one? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. Item 13.5, 2021 Developing Northern Australia Conference, 16 to 18 of August 2020. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation that council is represented in the 2021 Developing Northern Australia Conference to be held in Darwin from the 16th to 18th of August 2021 by Deputy Mayor Councillor Phil Barwick?
So moved, Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Anyone like to second that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Anyone want to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yeah, through the chair, it's important to have that voice representing our local government area in conferences such as this. I think it gives Councillor Barwick's got a very good broad knowledge of the issues that affect our local government area and the opportunities and discovering the opportunities and networking with people who could present more opportunities for Mount Isa through these types of conferences. The ability to get out and advocate for your community is very important for local government areas, and I commend Councillor Barwick on his decision to attend and council's support of it.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that takes us to item 13.6, which is the 2021 LGAQ Bush Council's Convention, on the 3rd to 5th of August. And if anyone would like to move the officer's recommendation that council is represented at the 2021 Local Government Association of Queensland LGAQ Bush Councillors Conference in Buckholden from the 3rd to the 5th of August 2021 by Councillor Peter McRae.
Move.
Thank you, Councillor Stratton. Would someone like to second that motion?
Second, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would anyone like to speak on behalf of this motion?
Yeah.
I'd just like to say that there is a section in there on tourism and events, and I'm looking forward to going down to Buckholden, a long drive that it is, and networking with other mayors and councillors.
Thank you.
Again, through the chair, it's very important for Mount Isa City Council to get out and advocate for our community and link up with other bush councils too as well to discover anything that could be of benefit to our local government areas.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune. No one else with a comment? Okay, all those in favour? And that's carried. And that brings us to item 13.7, which is the LGAQ 125th Annual Conference, 25th to 27th of October 21. Would someone like to move the officer's recommendation that council is represented at the Local Government Association of Queensland, LGAQ, annual conference to be held in Mackay from the 25th to the 27th of October by Mayor Danielle Slade and Councillor Peter McRae?
Move. Councillor Fortune.
Thank you, Councillor Fortune, and seconded
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor. Would anyone like to speak or on behalf of this motion? Or
Yeah, once
comment?
again, Madam Mayor, advocacy for our local government area. It happens through conferences like this, and Mount Isa City Council has a motion up for that conference as well. And it's important that we're there to speak for it and get our message across and see what support we can develop from other local government areas in Queensland.
Just through the chair, just like to, I did express interest in going to this, but just due to family commitments, I won't be able to, I couldn't take up the offer, so I won't be going this year.
Thank you, Councillor Coghlan.
Through the chair, I think it's important that council and council representatives engage with these particular conferences and things, because you know, there was a time where we probably weren't as good as we should have been in connecting with the rest of the state. And I think the more of this that we do, the more recognition we get, and the more that we attract the attention of a lot of people around the state. You know, so yeah, I'm really supportive of this. Thanks.
Agreed, Deputy Mayor, and I actually attended last year, and one of the highlights for me is having some of the councils present on some of the initiatives they are doing within their councils, and they're definitely ideas we can steal and use, so I definitely got a lot out of it. Okay, so if there's no other comments, all those in favour? And that's carried. So item 14 is general business, which we have nil, so council will adjourn briefly prior to commencing closed business. Thank you to our public gallery for being in attendance today. I'd like to move the motion that pursuant to section 274J of the Local Government Regulation 2012, Council resolve that the meeting be closed to the public for discussion of the following matters. B, industrial matters affecting employees, and C, the local government's budget. Can I get someone to move that motion?
Moved, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can I get someone to second that motion?
McRae.
All those in favour? And that's carried. Right, are you ready, Lindsay? Okay, I would now like to bring council out of closed business and into open business, and the time is 11:21, and I now declare this meeting reopened. I'd like to move that motion. Would someone like to second that motion?
Second, Stratton.
Thank you, councillor Stratton. All those in favour? It's carried, and I now declare the meeting reopened. Okay, so that brings us to item 15, which is confidential reports. And would someone like to move the motion? And I'll just have to go back to my confidential report now. Would someone like to move the motion that council approves the increase of current contract sum to the Interflow Proprietary Limited up to a maximum sum of 1,480,000 GXT exclusive?
Move, Stratton.
Thank you. Seconder?
Seconded, Fortune.
Thank you, councillor Fortune. Would anyone, no one speaks on behalf of that one. All those in favour? And that's carried. And the people and culture one, do we have a motion for that one? Oh, yeah. So for item 15.2, would someone like to move the motion that the officer's recommendation that council receives and accepts the People, Culture and Safety Quarterly Report for March to June 2021?
Move, Barwick.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Would someone like to second that motion?
McRae.
Thank you, councillor McRae. All those in favour? And that's carried. So the time is now 11:23, and I now declare this meeting closed. Thank you.